What's up, you guys? Micah276 here. Happy Thursday. Hope everybody's having a good week and that everybody is looking forward to the weekend ahead. Welcome to a quick video I wanted to do here with my scanner setup, and that is, it's going to be a little bit more laid back in nature. It is going to be what goes on a day when you do not have a lot going on. So no big incidents, no dramatic clips, no anything. Just kind of a real talk about something that comes up in this hobby more often than people realize, and that is just generally quiet days. So with that being said, let's get into it. So if you have a scanner and you've turned your scanner on, let it run, and had the thought cross your mind of, not much is happening today, you are in the right place. So quiet days can feel confusing, especially if you are newer to scanning. But even if you've been doing it for a while, they can still feel a little bit frustrating. You start wondering, is there something I'm missing? Is my programming off? Is the setup working correctly? So today I want to talk about what quiet days actually are, why they're completely normal, and why they are actually an important part of the scanner hobby, even if they don't feel exciting in the moment. So what is a quiet day? Let's define what I mean by that. So a quiet day isn't complete silence. It's not that your scanner is broken or not working properly. There are just no major incidents, no large multi-unit responses, no severe weather, nothing that really grabs your attention. Most public safety work, police, fire, EMS, etc., thankfully is very routine. And routine, when you're listening to a radio, does not always mean exciting. And in the majority of the cases, it actually does not mean exciting. So a lot of what you're going to hear on quiet days, which is what you're hearing right now, are going to be short transmissions. So things such as status updates, units clearing calls, officers checking with dispatch to confirm information, or maybe a medic unit talking to a hospital. And while that might not exactly be exciting as a listener, it's actually a sign that things are functioning very normally, which of course is what you want. This is where some of those expectations come into play. When a lot of people get into the scanning hobby, they expect constant radio traffic, non-stop action, something interesting every 1 or 2 minutes. And that expectation usually comes from highlight videos, storm coverage, or dramatic clips, which are all parts of the hobby, but they're not what most days actually look like. So when you hit a quiet day, your brain's going to start naturally filling in those gaps. Did I program this wrong? Is something broken? Did I buy the wrong radio? I've felt that, and everybody in the scanner hobby, whether new or seasoned, has probably felt that as well. A quieter day does not mean you're doing anything wrong. It usually just means nothing major is happening, and that by no means is a failure of the hobby. And those quieter days are something I didn't really appreciate until I actually started doing this, and then was doing it for a while. To this point, I've probably been in the scanner hobby for almost 10 years now, probably 9.5 years roughly. And that's taught me a lot, actually. That's taught me what normal radio traffic sounds like, how departments usually communicate, what pacing and tone are like on a more average day. That way, when something does happen, you're able to recognize it immediately. And it's going to stand out in areas such as urgency, how many transmissions you're hearing over a certain stretch of time, and also just simply in the way that people are talking. So the speed they're talking, tone of their voice, etc. Those quieter and more mundane days, for lack of a better term, are going to train your ear what to listen to. So that way, when you do hear something that's a little bit more urgent, it's going to stick out and there's going to be no uncertainty. Those give context to the busy days, and without that context, everything would just kind of squish together and all feel the same. On quiet days, I don't try to force that excitement. I might just let the scanner run in the background, which is what you're seeing right now. Check in occasionally, listen a little bit more passively. Sometimes I'll narrow what I'm monitoring, so in the case of the unit in SDS200, I'll lock onto a certain channel. Or other times I'll just turn it off for a bit and come back later, which 99% of the time on most days is what I do. The scanner doesn't have to be the center of attention every single day. It can just be part of your environment, something you check in on, not something you hover over. And quiet days still have their charm in the scanning hobby, as well as the more active days. As strange as it sounds, quiet days are actually reassuring. They usually indicate things such as no major emergencies, no large-scale incidents, no severe weather impacts. And while those are important to monitor, it's a good thing they're not happening all the time. The scanner hobby by no means is about constant excitement. It's about awareness, understanding, and context. And quieter days and the understanding of those make the busy days stand out a lot more. So if you're having a quiet day with your scanner, or even a quiet week, that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It just means today is normal, and normal days still matter. If you're new to scanning and this helps set expectations a little bit, I'm glad I could help. And if you've been around for a while, hopefully this was a good reminder that quiet days still do count. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and as always, Micah276 signing off. I'll catch you in the next one. Stay scanning and stay safe.